I want to start with a question that most people in the government and security circles never stop to ask. What do you know about your own territory? Not what you assume, not what was mapped 15 years ago. What you know right now about where people are, how they move, where resources are concentrated, and where threats are forming. Working across various regions, mostly the Sahel corridor, and conflict affected local government areas, I have seen firsthand how the absence of good geospatial intelligence causes loss of lives. The map is not the territory, but without the right map, you are flying blind over some of the most complex terrain in the world. What geospatial intelligence is and is not. Let me define the term properly because it gets misused constantly. Geospatial intelligence, GeoInt, is the analysis of imagery and geospatial information to describe, access, visually depict physical features and geographically referenced activities on Earth. It answers the questions what, where, and how. It is not just satellite pictures, it is the fusion of satellite imageries, aerial photography, remote sensing data, GPS tracking, demographic data, terrain analysis, human geography, all reference to a specific location on Earth. Sometimes even geoints, asyncs. I said asyncs, I mean artificial intelligence. I also we could talk about human intelligence, right? Now let's talk about the three pillars of geointelligence. It is collection, it is that means collection of sensors, satellites, UAV, field surveys. The second pillar is processing, image analysis, which includes GIS, machine learning, and then the third pillar is dissemination, which includes map, dashboards, decision briefs. The Nigerian context adds a layer of complexity. You have areas where ground truth verification is dangerous and impossible. For instance, in areas with high terrains, high vegetations, like in the south, the Niger Delta region, you have limited cadastral records. You have population displacement that renders last year's census data almost irrelevant. This is exactly where geoid becomes indispensable, not just a luxury tool, but a survival tool for planners and security forces alike, meaning that every security agency needs a geospatial intelligence specialist. Or will I say every security agency needs geoint. Let's talk about security intelligence threat mapping, which is very important to me and it has my heart. Force deployment and early warning for national planning. Now, I want to go into the security dimension and I will be as specific and as responsible as I can because this is where GeoInt's value is most immediately visible and where its absence has the most catastrophic consequences. Across various parts of Nigeria, mostly around the Niger Delta creeks, mine sites, and northern parts of Nigeria, non-state armed groups exploit this terrain and geography in very deliberate ways. They move along seasonal routes that are only accessible during specific months. They exploit the coverage gaps in the satellite revisit schedules. They use topography, dry riverbeds, creeks, even canopies, escarpments, forested wadis to mark movement and logistics. In fact, they understand this terrain so much, and understanding this is not possible without systematic geospatial analysis. Now, one key capability is change detection analysis on multi-temporal imagery, which allows analysts to identify usual patterns, new tracks, camp expansion activity, and previously empty coordinates, often days or weeks before ground level reports confirm them. Force deployment is another angle. When military or police commands plans an operation or positions assets, they need more than a roadmap. They need ground traffic assessments, like can armored vehicles move across this terrain in current seasons? They need cover and concealment analysis. They need line of sight modeling. They need to model the line of sight before they even begin any project or plan. They need communications and observation posts. All of this is something GeoInt encompasses to do. And critically early warning, some of the most important aspects is not just reactive but predictive. What holds Nigeria back and what must change? I'm going to be very candid here because I think too many expert discussions sanitize the systematic problem and end up being unhelpful. Nigeria has a significant geo deficit and it is not even about technology or a technology problem. The technology is increasingly accessible. Sentinel imageries, for instance, are free. Open source GIS tools are powerful. The problem is actually institutional. Three critical gaps which must be addressed is capacity, data governance, and damage signals. There's also a culture question. Geospatial intelligence is sometimes perceived as a military or intelligence community too, but urban planners, epidemiologists, humanitarian organizations, and even climate adaptation teams all need it. Breaking that celluloid perception is as important as building technical capacity. What does a functional national geospatial intelligence system look like? I'll be very concrete and not aspirational. First, a national geospatial data infrastructure. Second, embedded analyst capacity, meaning a full capacity of analysts. Third, partnerships with universities. And then finally, UAV integration. I'll close with this. The countries that will manage the next generation of intelligence for national planning and security challenges, the best will not necessarily be the ones with the largest armies or the biggest budgets. They will be the ones that know their territory deeply, accurately, and in real time. Yes, I mentioned real time because we need to monitor this intelligence or these incidences real time. Just special intelligence is not just a luxury tool or technical luxury. It is a governance necessity. And for a country the size and complexity of Nigeria, with the diversity of its ecological zones, the scale of its security challenges, and the ambition of its development agenda, building this capacity is one of the highest return investments that leaders and institutions have spent years contributing to several areas, project by project. This is my contribution to making this knowledge more accessible to planners, to security professionals, to students, to security agencies, to the government, to anyone at all who cares to know about how decisions get made in complex environments like security. So I want to know which area struck you the most and how you intend to use it. Thank you.